Welcome to the Wealthy Business Goddess Show for purpose-driven, passion-fueled spiritual entrepreneurs ready to live their purpose, passion and prosperity as they create the life and business of their dreams whilst transforming the world, doing what they love and making fabulous money. Each week we bring you inspiring and empowering topics, popular thought leaders to empower you to transform all areas of your life and business. With your host, spiritual intuitive, entrepreneur, transformational business coach and mentor, Kimberly Lovell.
Hi sweethearts, it's Kimberly Lovell here from the Wealthy Business Goddess Show, and I'm super excited to share with you a beautiful guest today, Marilyn Sorensen. And Marilyn is all the way from Utah today, and I'm going to introduce you to Marilyn. She's an amazing woman. We go back probably about 5 years or so now, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. So Marilyn is your partner in purpose. And it's said that the meaning of life is to find your gifts and the purpose is to give them away. I love that. One of the wonderful tools that Marilyn uses is scientific hand analysis to create a compass to help keep you on course with your purpose. So for the past 16 years, Marilyn's been showing self-employed business owners who are struggling with low income, self-doubt and resistance to marketing themselves how to double their income, market themselves enthusiastically, stand more confidently in their business and life. Marilyn hosts Soul Safari expeditions in Kenya, Africa, where you'll serve shoulder to shoulder in their Pay It Forward projects, where you make magic and memories that culminate with an up-close and personal safari with the wild animals on the Masai Mara. So Marilyn, so much has changed for you recently, so I'm curious to know, more of the details and for us to share this because it's really exciting. I love what you're up to. So purpose is kind of a bit of a buzzword right now, yeah? And many people are looking for their soul's purpose. What do you think? What do you think is happening that so many people are perhaps feeling that call from their soul, or maybe disconnected? They thought they'd found their purpose, and then maybe they're thinking that's not it. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I think that a lot of us not only hear the word purpose, in a lot of conversations that we're having, but in a lot of marketing online and Facebook ads and all of that. And I know for me, when purpose really kind of came calling and pushing me forward, it was when I was at a frustration point in my life where I felt like, quite honestly, I was playing perpetual pin the tail on the donkey. I don't know if that's a game that many people are familiar with, but it felt like I had this handful of tails that represented the things that I was naturally good at and the things that I was really passionate about, that I wanted to make a difference in the world with. But it felt like I'd been blindfolded and spun around, and I just didn't even know what direction was straight ahead or upright anymore. And it was just that I felt like there was something calling me forward, like there was something bigger than me that would give more meaning to my life. And I think that is oftentimes what purpose means to many of us. I know right now in today's world, with all the natural disasters that are happening kind of globally, I think that many of us also feel like there's a bigger contribution in the world, kind of a legacy that we would like to leave. It's not just our daily grind, something that gets us out of bed, that fuels us from passion. So sometimes passion and purpose can be very similar.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, you're right. I think a lot of people, particularly right now, but, I think our purpose is something that really is inspiring us. And we can either go with it or we can go kicking and screaming, but it's going to kind of find us, right? Everybody, I think, is kind of like feeling the effects of what's going on in the world right now. And, for lots of people, they're wanting to be part of the change. And so maybe you can speak more to, how people can discover their purpose and how people can maybe realign with their purpose. So I know a lot of people that I work with, like you, I kind of work a lot with people around their soul's purpose, but it's sometimes that they think they know what they're doing. And then, we evolve. Yeah, that's been part of your journey. So maybe you could speak about how your purpose has evolved and how you found your, greater purpose.
Yeah, I think that, oftentimes we do fall into these ruts, these, just going through the motions, getting through the day, and we get busy. Our world tends to give us a never-ending to-do list, and we say yes to way too many things, and we get so busy that we lose connection with our inner voice. And so we're going through the motions. We're trying to check off everything. We're running to our 20 different appointments and clicking in to learn more and trying to read a book and kids and work and family, and we just get buried underneath things. And oftentimes we numb out. I know that I used to. And oftentimes I do numb out by being busy. As an entrepreneur or a business owner, oftentimes I just get really busy. Now, it doesn't mean I'm productive, but I get busy and it totally numbs me out. And, a couple of years ago, I was definitely at that point where I just felt like I had been ignoring lots of signals. And one of the things that tends to happen for me when purpose does come knocking at my door is I get a physical injury. So I stop listening. And I think many of the people who might be, tuning in are highly intuitive. And those of us that are intuitive sometimes tend to argue with our intuition, or we trample over the top of it when signs or signals are coming our way. So one of the things that I have implemented over the years is called inner voice appointments, where a minimum of 3 times a week, no less than 30 minutes each time, I find a way to get still, to get quiet. It's something that I give my clients home play to do. It could be a bubble bath in a book. It could be a walk in the park. It could be counting the geese on your favorite pond. Sometimes for me, it's gardening. There's something very meditative and therapeutic about pulling weeds, like pulling what doesn't belong in your life and getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's really just to get unbusy, right? To get still enough to hear your inner voice, your intuition. You might call it an answer to prayers, meditation, but so that you can document, oh yes, I do have an inner voice that I have lost connection with that gives me divine downloads, beautiful messages, direction and clarity. And so doing that 3 times a week, scheduling it, like a regular appointment, gives the universe, God, whatever you like to refer to your higher power as, the opportunity to reconnect with you.
Yeah, and it sounds easy, doesn't it? To just take time for ourselves and to connect. And, as somebody who teaches meditation or has taught meditation and uses other processes, I think sometimes it's, like you're right, in terms of when we're looking at business, it's just really easy to get that massive list. I know I've been there, and it's kind of like an ongoing thing to keep remembering, time out, relax, chill, and that's when the intuition can come in, because when we're just all over the place in our heads, there's no space for those beautiful downloads.
We're just so bombarded. I mean, there's so many ways to be connected, right? Every social media platform and text messaging and phone calls and TV, and yet that's when we tend to get so completely disconnected from like our heart, our soul, and other people, and listening to what lights you up in the morning or throughout the day, what gives you energy. Is sometimes we kind of skip over that, and that's what our purpose might be leading us to. Like, I find that oftentimes when I'm incredibly energized after doing something, it has to do with my purpose.
Yeah, love that. Beautiful. So tell us about your big leap, because you've moved from, I know you're in Utah right now, but you moved from Utah to Kenya, right?
Yes.
So, you know, like, how did that come about?
Yeah, so right now I'm in the States, in Utah, USA, visiting. And a couple of years ago, 2013, I started taking humanitarian trips to Kenya, Africa. I had been invited a couple of times to go on trips to India, which was on my top 10 list. And I just didn't
Wow.
make it happen. And I regretted it. And so I said, whatever the next trip is, I'm going. I'm saying yes, and I'm going to make it happen. And it happened to be Kenya. Uh, and when I went, it just felt very familiar, very, very much like home, like that feeling that you have when it just feels like family, which actually is part of my purpose. My purpose in life is really to create family wherever I go in the world and to feel a part of family. To make friends, to create tribe and community.
Yeah.
And so then the visits started getting a little bit longer and more frequent. And in the end of 2014, I made a declaration that I would be moving to Kenya the following year. Now, at the time, I didn't really know why, but it felt like the most easy, natural decision I had ever made in my life. And, excuse me, and many things just started to fall in place after that. And so a lot of people say, oh, that's so brave of you to move. But Kimberly, quite honestly, it truly just felt like the most organic thing that I had ever done.
Wow. So you know, it's such a huge leap. Were there any fears that came up for you in that, or was it just like, oh, like let's go?
Well, certainly the excitement. I'm someone who does like change and adventure, that's for sure. But my friends and family that knew me were a little perplexed because I was a girl who was pretty well known for camping in my condo. I was not a girl who roughed it, who went camping, who did any of that. And Kenya certainly is a developing country in the majority of the country. And there were some concerns, certainly, like, you know, where am I going to live? Is there going to be internet? How am I going to make money? You know, there were those kind of things. I hadn't made a move, in probably 25 years, a big move in over 20 years. Plus, I was ending a cycle and season in my life. I was complete with my long-term marriage and moving forward into the unknown. So, and navigating the new normal can sometimes be a little bit jarring and certainly scary. But I also knew that I had done the work to be complete with my mindset and emotions so that I was running towards something instead of running away from something.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So tell us what happened. What did you need to, you know, you've talked about maybe some of those concerns and the mindset. And I think, you know, the mindset is just, for me, pretty much the biggest thing behind everything, because everything's coming from our mindset. And, you know, when we talk about mindset, we're talking about not just our beliefs, but our feelings. And often it's the mindset that holds us back, right? It keeps us stuck.
Absolutely.
So how did you break through, and then like what happened?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think that really helped propel me to continue, you know, taking one step forward and another step forward is I had decided that I was really committed to only having things in my life that created value for me. Whether it was stuff like, you know, clothing or, you know, furniture or books, all of that, or people and relationships. And so I had made a declaration, a mantra, if you will, that I was ready to be adored instead of ignored. And that that meant making my own decisions and really creating a whole new set of friends in many ways, and leaning in and asking for support from my friends and family to make connections in Kenya, which led me to actually meet Mr. Wonderful, the love of my life, my twin flame and partner. And we have really created a beautiful life in Kenya, where we live kind of in a rural area. There is Wi-Fi, however.
Yay!
It is needed when you have an online business.
Yeah.
And then again, creating friends and family tribe wherever I go. So a new community, really learning how to say yes to a different pace of life. African nations, I would say, give you that experience of learning to let go and be. One of the things that I hear a lot of from our guests that come on Soul Safaris with us is, how come it seems like time stands still when you're in Kenya? And I think it's because Africans, especially the accommodating, generous, heart wide open people of Kenya, they tend to be fully present with you. And like we already mentioned, sometimes when you're on the go, fully present and slow down is something completely foreign to us. So that has helped me have a different perspective, a different pace, and really reconnect with what's important to me. And what's most important is people. Like, I've never met a stranger. I love meeting people. The best lessons in life are your relationships with other people. Just like the connection that you and I have had for 5 years and we keep going. It's about connection, like true heart to heart, fully present, being with yourself so that you can be with others. Connection.
I love that. And so it's kind of like you, I know that you were always a traveler. Yeah, like me, you love traveling. And so tell us about the Soul Safaris and what you're doing, because I just love how, I just love this whole story about, how it's all evolved and it fell into place. So tell us what you're doing with the Soul Safaris.
Yeah, once upon a time, quite a few years ago, I had my own travel business. Yes. As many entrepreneurs out there, we've, had different careers along the way. And I used to always say, travel is the best mental health plan. It is the best education you can give yourself and certainly children. And, I think, again, it's the juicy part of meeting people and learning about other cultures, traditions, foods. And so with Soul Safaris, I just kind of continued with what the humanitarian projects that I was doing when I first went to Kenya, and then put my own spin on it. Found what was important to me, my purpose, what lit me up, what I really wanted to make a difference in. And so through Pay It Forward projects, like Days for Girls, which are providing washable menstrual kits to school-age girls so that they can manage their moon cycle and stay in school. It gives them an education, which changes the trajectory of their lives. We do tree planting projects, water projects, sponsoring children's school fees, many projects that we like to serve shoulder to shoulder with the beautiful people in Kenya. Because not only do they teach you about their culture, but they want to learn from you. So you get to, be with your age mates and cultural exchange. And then, of course, at the end, we'd like to take you on what I call Lion King Live. It is up close and personal with beautiful wild animals in Kenya. Kenya is known as the #1 place to go on safari. So, we get super close to cheetahs and lions and elephants and wildebeest. We see the wonder of the world, which is the millions of wildebeest and zebra crossing the Mara River from the Serengeti from Masai Mara. And as all things are teachers in nature, you get to learn a lot about yourself and the lessons that animals can teach you as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. I mean, it just sounds so perfect, that it all kind of came together. And I love some of the projects that you're involved with, like the Days for Girls?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's such a thing that, in the Western world we take for granted, but such a huge transformation for those girls, and not only for them, but for their families and their villages. So sometimes I think we get a little bit overwhelmed, I know I did when I was looking at, in terms of what charities I could support, feeling like I wasn't doing enough. But, some of these projects, it's just small things that make such a huge impact. And I just love how, you've married that with your business and how that's all tied in with your purpose. So it's beautiful kind of connection and creation. And really a recreation, isn't it, of who you're being in the world.
It is. It was a beautiful recipe for, my love of empowering women and girls, certainly, because that's been a passion for years. I was a birth worker, a doula, a birth assistant, and served on the Midwife College of Utah Board of Directors. And when I discovered that a simple $10 kit that lasts 3+ years for a girl, like $10 stretched over 3 years. And, that allows a girl to stay in school, which for her gives her, of course, a bright future, but helps her, be educated so that when she does get married and have children, she can pass that education on. It helps her avoid early marriage or female genital mutilation in some areas of countries around the world. And, who would have thought that just providing someone the opportunity to have, sanitary napkins that allows them to stay in school. We have families that come and thank us and say, thank you so much, because now we have 100 shillings a month that we can buy sugar or flour or milk to feed the family. And we're confident that our child can still attend school. That's pretty powerful.
That's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, how much more reward or fulfillment, could you have than that, to recognize that you're making that impact. Yeah, beautiful. I love it. So what would you say for the people that are listening who are maybe thinking about how they can get more clarity on their purpose, and or maybe I know both of us, we've kind of rebranded, recreated, I know my business certainly has evolved over 20 years, many times. So what would you say to people that are kind of just feeling as though they're just, something's a little bit, maybe out of alignment, or they're just disconnected? What would be 2 or 3 things that you would give them to do?
Well, I would say for starters, listen to that dissatisfaction, that frustration, the that longing. It's a sign, it's a clue. I know that oftentimes in business, you're told, well, even when you go to university as a student or college, you're told to pick one thing and stick with it. That is just crazy making to me, because cycles and seasons are throughout life, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in nature, in business, in your body. There are different, seasons and cycles that happen throughout life. And so listen to those promptings. See what may be catching your attention. Maybe there is a new modality, a different niche, a different area or revenue center that you have been considering in your business. It's one of the beautiful lessons that I've learned in Kenya. Kenyans do what we call hustle, which means work hard to get many businesses. So they may be trying to have their own shop, but they're also striving to own property. Maybe it's to have, small houses that they rent out, or then to have a vehicle that can serve as a taxi. So Kenyans are very well known as having multiple businesses. And yet in the westernized world, you're kind of looked at as being unfocused, I guess might be the right word, if you're doing multiple things.
Which is really interesting, right? Because that is the whole entrepreneurial mindset, and especially for a lot of the women that I work with, and I know that you work with too, because, as alchemists, it's we've got all these amazing ideas. So to try and have to kind of pick one thing, you know, and that can be really challenging. And so, you know, sometimes I think we make ourselves wrong for feeling dissatisfied, for wanting more, for not finding our niche, not finding the one thing that we're supposed to be doing. You know, because I always laugh at that when people ask me, you know, they'll have a reading, they'll ask me, you know, what's my purpose? And I'm kind of like, well, almost like God is going to tell you what is your purpose. Well, it's like, what do you want to do? What do you love doing? And if you don't know, then, you know, go and find out. Start doing some things, maybe some different things, you know, follow that awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people one of the things I've learned is constant creativity is key. So the realm of curiosity helps, number one, the synapses in your brain start firing and laying down new pathways, new brainwaves. And so whether it's taking a dance class, doing a pottery class, you know, I know that you teach and certify in, you know, different modalities. Both of us, you know, with scientific hand analysis, you know, one of the privileges and honors I have of looking at the fingerprints and markings in the hand is helping people get clarity and confidence in their decision-making process by helping them find their life path, their life lesson, and their life purpose. So reaching out to, you know, one of us to help create that clarity and confidence, but also creativity. So it could be taking a pottery class, a jewelry class. Even nowadays with like Netflix and different platforms, even watching a documentary or travel. Travel is always a really great option. It gives you new experiences, helps you ask questions. So constant creativity is something that I always recommend in helping you find your purpose. And then listening and getting quiet enough to see, oh my gosh, I'm so fully energized. I could go like run a marathon. You notice that your energy level shifts and you're very, you know, vibrant and smiling and want to keep going. That's a clue. Your purpose should inspire you, not expire you. So if you feel just, you know, like, oh, let me just get through this next appointment or this next task in my business.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for a breath of fresh air. Like, look for something new.
Love that. I love that. So, tell us how people can connect with you, because the idea, or maybe tell us just before we do that, tell us a little bit about the Soul Safari and kind of how it kind of works. So you said you take people to meet the lions and the cheetahs, the elephants, but you also have them engage in these beautiful projects that you've been involved with. And so do they come for like a week, 2 weeks, or how does that work?
Beautiful. Yes, we actually have a variety of soul safaris. They have gained in popularity, and so next year we have quite an array of dates that people can choose from, as well as kind of themes and styles. So we have some that are for ladies only, because ladies, we do safari just a little bit different. And in Kenya, we're on the east coast of Africa. So that means we have beautiful white sand beaches as well in the Indian Ocean. Now, if you haven't been to the Indian Ocean, the water is bathtub warm and delicious. And
yummy.
And it's not, there's not huge waves that are going to, you know, take you out. You can wander out into the ocean for a great distance. The sand on some of the beaches, we do go to Diani Beach. The sand is so refined, it's almost like powder between your toes. It's so lovely. So we have some soul safaris that are ladies only. They're soul sister safaris, where we combined the beaches and the Maasai warriors. So we do projects, one of my favorites, which is called the Feeding Station. It's on a Sunday, and we go and we prepare meals. When I was there in April, we fed just shy of 3,000 children in one day. So children sometimes walk 6 miles or more to come and get a hot meal. So we feed them, and then we send them all home with groceries to feed about 4 more people at home. We do, of course, do days for girls. We enjoy different projects, that ecological projects, and learning about how you can be a good steward of the earth. And then we go to the Masai Mara, where you get to hang out with the Maasai tribe, which is one of the most remote tribes left on the planet, who are still practicing their cultural traditions. So you get to learn how, the ladies sometimes walk miles and miles to find a clean water resource while they're dodging elephants or lions and feeding their children. We get to learn, how they built their huts, and they get to learn from you. They're always fascinated on how women around the world are doing business, because they're very, very interested in entrepreneurialism. And then, of course, we take a couple of days and we get in safari land cruisers at the crack of dawn to go watch lions hunt, or sometimes they're on hot dates with their girlfriend early in the morning. One of my favorites is to see giraffes, like herds of giraffes turning toward the sunrise in the morning. Lots of birds, crocodiles, all of the fantastic animals, and to see how they work together as a team or separately, and what they can teach you. So we have soul safaris that are like that for women. We have some that are for families. It's really fun to bring children on, or couples, or singles, where we're planting trees. We're installing tippy taps, which are hand washing stations. Anytime we do Days for Girls, we want to make sure there are resources for washing hands. So we do that. We go to schools. We have 2 libraries that we're working on. Books are hard to come by in Kenya. And as you and I know, books provide escapism, knowledge, empowerment, imagination. And so we're building 2 libraries in very rural areas that will also serve as pop-up clinics and continuing education for adults and language. So many pay it forward projects. And then, of course, the adventure of being with the Maasai tribe, your age mates around Kenya, and the fantastic animals.
It sounds amazing, and it's kind of, as you're describing it, I'm just going to say you paint such an amazing picture. It's like you can almost feel yourself there. So,
Well, and I will say, and yes, when you say about painting a picture, our average guest takes 3,000 plus photos in the 12 to 14 days.
Yeah.
They're with us, because Kenya is such a colorful country. The landscape and terrain is gorgeous. Sunsets and sunrises are remarkable. And of course, the beautiful people of Kenya, especially Maasai, are very well known for their bright colors. They're the ones that you see jump really high if you ever watch National Geographic, or that sing and dance and kind of move their neck. So people from around the world come just to photograph them.
Yeah, beautiful. It sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so, grateful to have you here and to be sharing, how you, have evolved your purpose and how it's kind of making such a huge impact in the world. And I love that, So for those people that are listening, that are interested in finding out more, connecting with you, and perhaps interested in the soul safaris, how can they get in touch with you?
You can email me, Marilyn, MARILYN, at MarilynKnows, KNOWS.com. You can ask me any question. I would be happy to answer all of those. And anyone that reaches out, I'll send you my miracle mantras, which are one of the tools that I use to keep on track with my purpose. And also, like you said, sometimes when we're making decisions or shifts in our life, sometimes we feel shame or guilt. These are going to help you dissolve that, whether you just pick one to read every day as a practice, or if you want to read all of them, you could read all of them in a matter of minutes. But it helps change your vibration, keep you confident and on the path of clarity with your purpose while you make those bold decisions in your life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Marilyn. It's just been amazing to connect with you, reconnect, and to share more about the wonderful work that you're doing in the world. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be lots of people listening, feeling a little tug going on. I can kind of, as you were describing it, I was like, oh, yes, the beaches, the sunsets. I love photography. So amazing opportunity for people to learn more, but also to nourish and restore their soul and maybe discover their purpose. Because like you say, when we take time out, we get that clarity and we can realign and our bodies recharge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So beautiful people. I'm going to say, a huge thank you to you, Marilyn, for being so gracious to come on and share all of this wonderful work you're doing and inspire us and empower us. And for those of you that are maybe interested in finding out more, then do check out Marilyn's offer of the mantras. I'm sure they will be amazing. And until we speak again, much love and many blessings.
Thank you for the honor and privilege.
You are welcome, my darling. Bye,
You've
everyone.
been listening to the Wealthy Business Goddess Show. If you've enjoyed the show, subscribe and review our podcast. Sign up to receive your Wealthy Business Goddess resources and join us in the Wealthy Business Goddess community at www.lovekimberly.com/WBG. To find out more about how Kimberly can support you in creating the life and business of your dreams, or to watch the show via video, visit the website at www.kimberlylovell.com.